All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Cold Front. My name is Zach, and today we are going to be talking about Thunderbolts, and the MCU is back. Apparently, I got to see Thunderbolts this past weekend, and I was excited. I was a little nervous. I've been the past 5 years. I've been holding, well, maybe not five, but I've been holding the MCU at arm's length distance because I was as connected, as involved. I loved it as much as anybody up into and through Endgame. And ever since then, they have been disappointing me and disappointing me one after the other. And I was hearing all the hype behind this, so I went in cautiously optimistic. And I'm glad I went in cautiously optimistic because I liked it. It's a good movie. Does it warrant the high 80, low 90 split on Rotten Tomatoes? I don't think so. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But let me just take time to appreciate and just say it's good. It's fun to have the MCU be good again. The good old days felt back for once. Watch the Thunderbolts, which was refreshing to see. But I do think needs to be noted. This is more of a Black Widow 2 slash Falcon Winter Soldier with others team up film. It's more Black Widow 2 than anything. I was told by many people this was Marvel's The Suicide Squad. I can see where that comes from, particularly with the kind of origin of this team, the creation of this team, but it's really more similar to Guardians of the Galaxy. It has similarities with both, but I really think that's more to its detriment. That's its biggest problem. That's Thunderbolt's biggest problem. We'll talk about the good and the bad, but the movies in the hero space that this is most similar to are just they're superior in every conceivable way, every conceivable metric. And I liked this, but I didn't just love it. And I've been trying to wrestle with the fact that this is one of the most well reviewed hero films in years. I mean, and I do think that's probably a pendulum or a counterbalance, a swing from the fact that Marvel has been giving us what? Been giving us Multiverse of Madness, which is trash. It's been giving us Ant-Man Quantumania, which was garbage. It's been giving us the Marvels. It's been giving us these highly produced, run by committee, no heart having movies that have no reason to exist. And then you give us Thunderbolts. And it's just so much better than all of those. But that doesn't make it great. If Thunderbolts had been released in phase 2 or 3 of the MCU, I think we would have all said this is another good MCU film. It would have been in the high 70s, low 80s in Rotten Tomatoes. So I'm saying all this to say calibrate your expectations appropriately. Um, it's definitely a top 3 movie post Endgame, but that's not saying a lot. But all that aside, the biggest strength of Thunderbolts by far is character, the character work, particularly with Yelena, played by Florence Pugh, blonde Black Widow, however you want to think of her. And this is her movie. This movie could have been called Yelena and the Thunderbolts for all intents and purposes. This is her movie. And she does an excellent job making me care about her. And everyone in this, it's really kind of incredible. To Thunderbolts' credit, everyone, including Yelena, are B movie. They were side characters in bad MCU projects for the most part. These weren't even good movies that they originated in or good shows. They were fine at times, but nothing that warranted, I thought, their own film. And they proved me wrong to a big extent. Yelena in particular took charge in this movie. And the deep dive character based story, I think that goes to show you, even if people aren't critics, that's what people come to movies. That's what people read books. That's why they do this is for characters and good character work, good stories to tell. And it felt like the people who wrote this script, the director, had a story to tell and a vision, and they executed it really well for the most part. And it tackles something the MCU has hinted at tackling, but it hasn't done it to this depth before, and that's depression. Depression, suicidality, the feeling of worthlessness of what does this all mean, of the vital importance and not bottling that up and sharing that with people and with not assuming that no one else can relate to you, because I think we all kind of put on a front. And even though this person looks really strong, they are likely just as broken and messed up as you, and maybe to varying degrees. This movie has a lot of good to say about that. And it says it not through plot dumps, Ant-Man Quantumania. It says it through character work. It says it through dialogue. And it's relatable. It's very relatable. It even takes moments to talk about fatherhood, to reveal the importance of having a father figure, even if that father figure is broken, just like we all are as people. The importance and the negative impact in stripping that away from somebody. There is so much good analysis here. And it's not a movie that's going to be studied, but it's a movie that's relatable and that has something to say. And that's really where this movie shines the most. The villain is excellent here, Century, and that's really he's the first villain we've had in MCU in a while where my mouth was agape at one moment and what he was capable of doing. And now I'll leave this film. I really care about Yelena. I care a lot about Red Guardian, which let's be honest is a Drax, Russian Drax, and I care a lot about Sentry. The problem is, but that's also another problem with this film is I don't really care or remember that much about the other half of the team, and that's again where I say the movies this is most similar to are Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad. We're going to pretend like David Ayer's Suicide Squad doesn't exist. I'm talking about the real one. I'm talking about James Gunn. In particular, Guardians of the Galaxy. Just I cared about all of the characters after watching the first Guardians film deeply and for different reasons. This movie, I care very deeply about one, Yelena. I care moderately about two others, and the other ones I really don't care what happens. And so and some of that, you can't. Not every movie can be Guardians, but whenever that's the comparison, the measuring tool, it hurts this film a little bit. If I'm going to watch a ragtag team up movie, I'm not rewatching Thunderbolts. I'm rewatching Guardians. That being said, the fight scenes are fine. I kept getting, and this is another thing. This is why I'm saying avoid the hype because this is a good movie in its own right. But some of the comparisons, I don't know where this is coming from. It was compared to the Winter Soldier or something with a grounded fight scene. I think the fight scenes that do occur are a little more grounded. Bucky's in the movie, so I guess there's some Winter Soldier esque ness to that aspect of it. But the fight scenes are just fine. They're not bad, but we never got our Guardians 3 hallway fight. You never got your Winter Soldier elevator fight or highway fight. You never got like a memorable sequence like that. That was just like, whoa, that was super cool. That I felt like this movie deserved concern. All these characters can just, as Uleva says, point and shoot. And you get some of that, but it's not like it's memorable. The character work is memorable. If you're going to pick one thing, I'm glad they got the character work done. It's the important stuff. But I did feel a little slighted that in the third act, which it had to occur this way, the final conflict had to be over. But there's a distinct moment. I don't want to spoil things, but there is a distinct moment when they're obviously going into the third act and we finally have our team together, like all together. And the fight is just cut off for a stupid reason that doesn't make any sense to me even now, sitting back on. Just like, you still could have done all the things you were wanting to do and included that awesome. Anyway, so that irritates me. So, felt like some things were left on the table. That's a little superficial, but I mean, it's an action film. I mean, come on. But I will say, on the positive end, the comedy this is a classic MCU. It's in a real like Red Guardian has a lot of memorable lines. They even have like John Walker and Yelena pitted against each other. That there's a lot of fun ways Bucky has a little bit of comedic flair here and there. Red Guardian pitted against anybody's funny. So the flair and of comedy and it kept since the serious tones are present, it kind of kept a nice balance, like anytime something is getting too heavy, you can count on Red Guardian interrupting that with something, which was good. Our theater was laughing the whole time. I was laughing the whole time. I had a blast watching it. I had a fun time watching the film, and the commentary was impressive. But let me just say, there were some emotions to pull out. I did connect with Yelena quite a bit, but again, this is where like, did this ever give me the emotional resonance that like Guardians 3 gave me? No. I bawled in Guardians 3 the first time I watched it. That one felt like my soul was ripped out of my chest about halfway through that movie. This does nothing on the par of what Guardians 3 does. I don't necessarily think it's trying to be, but the comparisons are a little outlandish. This is a good, not great Marvel film. The emotional resonance wasn't there. The third act of this film is all kinds of horrifically messy script wise. A lot of plot contrivances. Very. That's another thing. The way they resolve some of this very serious conflict is very serious. I applaud them for the examination of depression and all that stuff, but the way they resolve it was pretty cheesy and cheesy enough to it kind of took me out. And I was like, yeah, okay, okay, like I feel like an eighth grader wrote that particular scene. The rest of it's great, so I'm not gonna hold it against you too much, but uh, but it could have. It just felt like a movie that this is the classic case of like they got a double. Like this is baseball. The Thunderbolts is a double, but there are different kinds of doubles. And I didn't play baseball, but I know for a fact there's that kind of double that the guy hits and it goes to the fence. And you think it's a home run and it bounces off the top, like it's an inch away. Bounces off the fence, double. Then there's that one that the dude barely gets a hold of it and it bloops over, the first baseman's head and loses some momentum and, technically is fair and just due to how slow the ball is moving, they also get a double. Looks the same at the end of the day, but the vibe was totally different. That's Thunderbolts to me. Okay, it ended up being a double. It's a good MCU character team up flick that has interesting commentary on mental health. Really fleshes out Yelena and Red Guardian in particular. There's no serious misses that just ruin the movie. The action is good. It's not special. The comedy is frequent and it hits really well. And it's a ton of fun. It's a ton of fun. None of our stays welcome. And perhaps the biggest thing is not only was it fun and good and all that good stuff, it actually progresses the MCU, which shouldn't be asking a lot. But these days, when you have a movie that kind of ties some characters together, has a mid and end credit scene that actually expands and gives us some kind of direction and gives us a compass as to why we're even watching these movies in the first place, that was refreshing. So kudos to this movie for actually kind of getting everybody on the right track and pointing us somewhere. Did it do it perfectly? No. But did it provide a fun ride? And did it visualize Sentry as this dude of like, okay, what does Thanos have on him? I don't know. Uh, yeah, it did all that stuff, fleshed all that stuff real well, and it kind of gave us a direction. And I feel like I'm finally, with some of the negative I've said, this was a good movie. It was fun. And I feel like I'm finally excited to see another MCU film because I actually have a direction to go from this point forward. I feel like I finally know where all of this is headed, which is awesome. So at the end of the day, Thunderbolt, 7 out of 10. I feel like it could have been 8 or 9, but there's just some things for me in particular that held me back. I totally get why people are loving this film. I just think it's a little inflated with all the hype that it's getting, but it was a solid good time. If all the Marvel films released are of this quality, I'm going to be a lot happier than some of the 2 and 1 out of 10s we've been getting with some of those other films I mentioned. So this was a nice breath of fresh air. And if you're on the fence, go watch Thunderbolt. It was fun. Just watch it with the right mindset and the right expectations. Thank you guys for tuning in.